Welcome back to another video on the Peden channel. Today I have a special guest with me, one of my friends and currently my favorite streamer on Twitch. He goes by the name Rhyzohm, and I had him on to talk about Charlie Kirk and his legacy as a fellow content creator who also watches a lot of right-wing content, including Charlie Kirk. Rhyzohm watches right-wing reactionary content from all over the internet while providing a safe space to witness, deconstruct, and make fun of right-wing propaganda. He's one of the realest streamers out there, and it was a blast to film this with him. Unfortunately, I was really sick when we filmed, so I'm a little low energy, but it was still a blast, and I think it's a great video. I've been really excited to share it with you. But first and foremost, make sure you follow Rhyzohm on Twitch and give his stream a watch. It's a great time. Enjoy the video.
Today I'm with one of my favorite streamers on Twitch, Rhyzohm. He's actually my favorite streamer. He's #1.
Damn, that's an honor. Your favorite streamer over here, huh?
No, it's actually true. Like, you are one of the most consistent, like, insightful streamers, I think, in Twitch politics right now.
Hey, I appreciate it. I mean, I think it's just important to have a space where you can feel normal and valid in this timeline right now, right? Where, like, we're listening to people's struggles get minimized on a daily basis, where we've got people who are trying to, like, apologize for political violence happening and tell you that, like, there's a good reason that maybe we should have, like, cops rolling out in cities across the country. It's like, we need a space to just recognize the humanity of the situations that we're living in and, like, feel like, you know, we're heard, basically. That's so I provide a space for people to scream into the void about the things they're seeing in the timeline, a safe space to kind of just, like, look at what your reactionary Trump voting uncle is thinking, and, like, a space to complain about that with other people who are going to make you feel like, you know, you are a valid fucking human.
Before we get too into it, though, do you want to get really somber for the thumbnail? I mean, for Charlie.
Oh, yeah, no, pay our respects, yeah. I'm trying. It's hard to fake it when you're not feeling it. Let's see.
Yeah, just sorry. Think about Charlie. Think about Charlie. So yeah, Charlie Kirk has left this earthly plane.
Yes.
He's wherever you believe in after that.
His neck exploded on him.
Who could have predicted this except the Simpsons?
Oh yeah, true. I mean, they predict everything.
Do you know about how, like, staunchly people believe in Simpsons predictions? It's like a whole thing.
Oh yeah. That's half of when I'm talking about Rumble. That's like at least half of what you see on Rumble is like clips of media that white people love that they think predicts the future or depicts reality exactly correct. And it's like, yeah, it's because it's made for you, bro. Like, what do you think? Like,
so this is clearly Charlie Kirk. This already has 140,000 likes, by the way.
Charlie Kirk's fate was already in The Simpsons. In a forgotten episode, Springfield gathers for a campus speech under a stormy red sky. Charlie Kirk appears on stage. The crowd welcomes him, but their faces look uneasy. The camera pans to Homer, watching the TV at home. Sweat drips down his forehead. A static flickers across the screen. Kent Brockman appears, his voice trembling. The voice of youth will be silenced, he mutters. Lisa sits in her bedroom with a notebook in hand. She circles the date, September 10th, 2025.
So is this an episode about Charlie Kirk? Or?
Yeah, exactly. The secret Charlie Kirk episode that, you know, they Nostradamused back in, like, you know, 2015.
And in the episode, Homer's watching him on TV and Lisa circles a date and Kent Brockman says the voice of the youth will be silenced.
I love how stressed Homer was too. Like, he's showing more care than, like, he's ever cared about anything or anyone before. Like, he was really invested in Charlie Kirk's career. Like, he wanted to see the end of Charlie Kirk's hairline, man. He was really invested in that journey. He needed to see where it was going to go.
He was killed for freedom of speech. So, okay, Lisa circles the date, and then what?
5. Her eyes widen in fear as the page clues faintly. At Springfield Elementary, Bart Spray paints a cryptic warning. The words stretch across the wall. It ends today.
It was Bart!
Holy shit. Wait, did you show this to the FBI?
The scene cuts back to the speech. A shadow moves inside a nearby building. The atmosphere grows heavier, the sky glowing blood red. Suddenly, a single flash bursts through a window. The echo rings out like thunder across Springfield. The audience gasps in horror, frozen in shock. The microphone slips and crashes to the ground. On Channel 6, the broadcast...
So wait, what happens even? Just a shot fires out and a microphone falls?
That's, you know, they call that a mic drop moment.
In Moe's Tavern, the lights flicker violently. Beer taps stop flowing, leaving silence in the bar. The citizens sit in stunned disbelief.
I'm surprised this still goes on. Like, they told the whole story already.
Well, everyone is sitting in disbelief.
Yeah, everyone's sad. Look at Chief Wiggum's body. Look at the proportions.
And not to just be laughing at AI slap. It's not that it's, like, good.
No, this is serious. What do you mean? Look at Ned Flanders' face.
He's
see
so
that?
upset about Charlie Kirk. Okay, he would be.
He actually would be. Yeah, this is what his kids would fucking watch every day, like as part of their homeschool curriculum. Like,
And that's his brother, I guess, Ted Flanders. And then Marge is the only one sitting the wrong way. What does that predict?
true. Marge is on the left, feminist.
Blue hair. So yeah, that's obviously the Simpsons predicting it. Listen, Jesus Christ is coming back soon. Spread the gospel and read your Bible. Oh, did you see that guy at the shooting that was talking about the Book of Mormon, like on the ground after it happened?
No.
This was literally on the ground like seconds after it happened. He's right next to Charlie as after.
That's fucking crazy. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
The way we treat death in this country is crazy. Like, there's also, like, this is such a uniquely American thing, like how we look at death, but also it's just like, I just don't understand where we have been desensitized to death on this like where have we been exposed to imagery and media that desensitizes us to death on this level, that like when it happens before our eyes we're like, gotta get the phone out, gotta do a quick moment to shout out some shit, you know? Like, filming it makes sense to me, but just thinking about it, like, this shows some greater significance that I need to prove to the world right now, like, and I don't care about anything that happened before my eyes. Like, that's nuts. How do you also feel safe? How do you not know, like, how do you not think that there's like a bullet coming for you in the next second? Like, it's crazy.
Part of me feels like it's almost isolation for those reasons, right? It's like the opposite of desensitization. You just don't even understand the context of what's going on, so you're just like acting on impulse.
It's your boy out on TikTok. There was just a gunshot at Charlie Kirk. We're in Utah.
He just like pan past the tent, like he's right next
like,
to it.
bro, get the fuck down.
Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go.
Look at this, dude.
It's your boy Elder TikTok.
That
There
is-
was just a gunfire in Utah.
This is
This is not
America.
a drill. There is a gunfire in Utah. Shots fired here in Utah. This is not a joke. Charlie
wait.
Kirk, Elder TikTok, Mormon Central, Utah. There was a gun that just fired off here at Charlie Kirk. I am not playing with y'all. Hey, make sure you go to church on Sunday. Read the Book of Mormon. This is not a drill. I'm not playing with y'all. Hey, Jesus is Lord. Jesus will protect you. Jesus is your savior, bro. I'm not even lying. Make sure you subscribe to Elder TikTok on Instagram.
He said, read the Book of Mormon.
I mean, Jesus is kind of protecting people here when you really think about it.
He's protecting him at least.
Well, I mean, you know,
Oh,
Charlie Kirk's no longer, you know, here to do anything.
bless up. Read the Book of Mormon, go to church on Sunday, say thank you. Dude, the peace sign is crazy.
I mean, when it comes to 2025, I understand peace to literally mean bloodshed. It's just how they used it. That's how they've weaponized it, right?
Yeah.
And Charlie Kirk would do it too. He would say that he talks about peace and love all the time. Meanwhile, he's just talking about who belongs, who doesn't belong, who should have access to what resources, who should be caged up, who shouldn't, who should be considered like human, who should not. Like, that's peace and love, I guess.
And that's freedom of speech, and you're actually a fascist if you disagree with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that for me is kind of where I'm at. It's just like, if you're somebody who thinks that ICE, the way that we spend our money, and like what's going on with the National Guard are not political violence, then I don't give a fuck about what your views are on quote unquote political violence.
Like, and that's just the tip of Charlie's iceberg. There's so, like, the depravity does not end with this guy. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
And I want to always bring up like his fucking takes on Israel and Judea and Samaria, but that's
Yeah.
like so many layers down where you get into the like things that he's not even that directly damaging to, as much as it's genocidal and horrible. He's genocidal to black people in America when he justifies the death of George Floyd.
Well, on a daily basis, he was out there talking about black criminality or thugs in our country that like we need to cage up or whatever the fuck. Like he would be like, this is another example of blacks going after whites. What he did every day was just say like, who we need to cage up, and black people were one of any marginalized group that he believed was getting too much power was a target, right? And like people saying that he was just there for free speech and just there to have an open dialogue don't recognize like what the actual political consequences are of conversations like that, because they're the type of person who just aren't affected by these systems, right? And think that it just remains in the realm of conversation when bodies are on the line, when humanity is on the line, when like people's autonomy and rights are on the line, when people's like access to basic resources are on the line.
Charlie Kirk understood the violence of his own politics. He is pretty blatant about it pretty often, including here, where he says he would enjoy watching people be executed publicly.
Yeah, this is a great clip. So I was sent this live, and a lot of people have been talking about how you can't feel good when somebody dies. Like, we should all be paying respects. We should all, you know, be mourning the loss of somebody who is doing such prolific work. And it's like I said a moment ago, like, not when bodies are on the line. So there's so many people feeling that right now. And Charlie Kirk himself was somebody who on a daily basis would advocate for political violence being done in a public way that like would make him feel good. And you'll see in this clip, he would like to see public executions of people that he considers to be, quote, savages, unquote, people that he would consider to be ruining Western civilization. So if you're the type of person who like is acting like this was just a peaceful guy, or like people are wrong for feeling good, you know, if somebody who they perceive as evil dies, like, here's your boy himself giving you permission, or giving permission to people to feel that catharsis.
And you know what? I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. I want to see him on a public block and get him be publicly executed. And I think that would be justice.
So that's the soundbite, but then you can go back and like play it from like 10 seconds on, just so people can see the full context. But this is him pondering the idea that people witnessing public executions might serve as a deterrent to quote unquote crime, and children should be exposed to this so that they know that they might die if they step out of line of Western Christian conservative values. Like, this is who people are talking about when they're getting upset about people who feel like, you know, they're happy seeing him gone. Like, this is who they're talking about.
And the counter argument is always, well, he's talking about pedophiles.
Well, yeah, not only just that, in this clip, he talks about pedophiles, he talks about mass shooters, and before the line we just saw, he talked about an immigrant, somebody who like he thought should not be in this country, and he called him a savage. So
they called Kilmar a fucking pedophile for no reason.
Yeah.
A co-conspirator alleged that the defendant solicited nude photographs and videos of a minor. A co-conspirator also alleges the defendant played a role in the murder of a rival gang member's mother. These facts demonstrate Abrego Garcia is a danger to our community.
And they still say it with no evidence. Like, these people can't be trusted with that kind of fucking politic. It's clearly like not responsible.
If somebody's going to look at this clip and say, well, they're talking about pedophiles, it's like, he's not just talking about pedophiles. He says pedophiles, then he also says savages, and he references an instance where somebody killed like a woman who was pregnant or something like that, a savage, quote unquote. And then he talks about mass shooters at the end. So what he's doing here is he's
really
trying
whoever he wants.
Right. It's people that he believes are negative to society. And he's saying that he believes they should be murdered in public to deter people from going towards the same outcomes. And like, that's who he is, right? That's how he wanted things to get done. He wanted the state to do his violent bidding for him, to show people what values like will succeed in the society or be like allowed in the society and wouldn't.
Same guy who goes, you get thrown off a rooftop if you're gay in the Middle East too.
By the way, this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals.
Expensive.
It should be public. It should be quick. It should be televised.
I like how he ran through the like regular talking points about like how the death penalty is too expensive or whatever, which is just ridiculous. And then he starts being like, well, it should be public. Like, that's the fucking problem with it. Takes too long. Should just be in, everyone gotta see it. Like, what the fuck does that change?
Well, you'll see why he says that. He actually says that it opens up for opportunities for advertisers like Coke. So actually it might solve the problem of how expensive they are. You'll see in a sec, he'll say that.
Oh, fuck. You're right. I'm not thinking economically. No wonder corporations and fucking McDonald's are putting their flag down.
Yeah, this is who they lost, exactly. A visionary.
Think of the profit margins.
The last execution in France was guillotine in 1977.
100% true. They used the guillotine.
Until
the whole way.
77?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I bet if the shooter had some kind of guillotine imagery anywhere, they would call them a leftist, by the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's like what we should be doing. And I agree. It should be public.
And
it should be public
televised.
square.
By the way, you could sell. You could
Force
fund the
kids
government
to watch it.
You could have like brought to you by Coca-Cola. And no, I'm not kidding. By the way, I would totally tune in to see some pedo get their head chopped off. convicted by a jury.
By the way,
peers.
that's going to get
So this is where he mentions pedophiles, right? And then you'll see right before he says what we saw at 1:10, he switches it to quote savages. This is where he switches it over to savages.
talking about a real thing. I'm not talking
All
about
executions in Belarus are by firearm. That's not a choice or anything.
Andrew's saying don't make kids watch it, and I think no, the absolute
I think at a
opposite.
certain age, it's an initiation.
16, if you can drive, you can watch.
Like, that's fucking insane too, by the way. What the fuck are you saying? Like, you are disgusting and should not be trusted around children if you have this kind of attitude.
Yeah, this guy Blake Neff, the bald guy that said that, he got fired from Fox News for like being too racist on the timeline when he was a scriptwriter for Tucker Carlson.
Oh, it's that guy.
Goes to show, kind of goes to show how mask off and fucked up this dude is, you know?
What if that's just Tim Pool without the beanie, but it has sort of a Clark Kent Superman effect and we just can't tell?
Yeah, he's uncapped. He's unleashed.
It would work, man. It could be him.
You look at some of these savages, like in Indiana, there was this guy that went in and killed a pregnant woman and her 3 kids.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to watch that execution.
Yeah, he switches it so quickly from like, okay, pedophile, which they always use as like the most satanic, evil, of course you could do whatever you want no matter what. And then they call everyone they want a pedophile except for like the president who has, you know, all the Epstein ties.
Yeah, and then they pivoted over to savages, which also just proves your point that they're only saying pedophiles to say monsters, right? Like, they're just trying to say people we do not want to grant humanity to and people we want to die.
It's how you build a bridge to the vulgarity, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, the main point is to dehumanize in the language and say there are people deserving of death. There are people who deserve to not be treated as humans in our society. This is why I say this is what Charlie Kirk's output was every day, was just making arguments for who should be considered human, who shouldn't be, and how we should treat the ones that we shouldn't consider to be human because they don't adhere to, quote, Western values.
Like, if you want to go straight from savages, this is just the next layer down in his rhetoric.
Precisely.
And that's what he builds up to.
This is emblematic, in my opinion, of the kinds of things that he was doing every day right here. This is him talking about the jazz festival beating or like assault that happened in Ohio, Cincinnati recently, where there was apparently this like drunk white dude who was out, who was being racist on the streets, and he like was following around a group of black kids or like a group of black people, and eventually like they started to beat him up, like they started to attack him, and no one on the streets did anything, and one white lady intervened and she got like clocked and knocked out. And they were trying to talk about this like this was like racial violence. You'll see how Charlie Kirk talks about it here, when we don't really know anything more than like this was drunk people at 3 a.m. at a jazz festival. And Charlie Kirk is going to take this as a moment to say, look at the depravity of our culture celebrating this, when it's like people always like to see somebody that they think is annoying get beat up. So like that's what this instance was. You'll hear how he talked about it though, and you'll hear how he tries to use his own white racial bias here, like his own like white racist bias, to interpret the event for like what he thinks it is.
I was trying not to just stare at my phone all day long. I do typically take a Shabbat, but...
Sorry, this is just... Why did he say this? He's a Christian nationalist.
This is what happens when you grift this hard. Like, you've got to remember all the different grifts that you've taken on and like respect them all, you know?
So, this last weekend, there was a Cincinnati jazz festival. I love jazz music, actually. Jazz is beautiful. I play a couple jazz instruments.
You like that he had actually in there? I like jazz, actually. You might not expect for him to like jazz for some reason.
I play a couple jazz instruments. What the fuck is a jazz instrument? No instrument has been made exclusively for jazz. Like, what is that?
Come on, dude. He plays jazz guitar.
Yeah, it's like he only knows like saxophone through jazz or something. So like that's a jazz instrument.
That's because that's how it's organized in high school, when that was probably the last time he played any instruments.
Jazz band. Yeah. Oh my God. You clocked it.
I mean, he lives as like a he lived as like a high schooler because he was always talking to and trying to groom high schoolers to be conservative.
Well, I'm not going to lie. That's kind of how conservatism works. Like, you can't really mature past high school because like if you introspect any harder, like you're just going to realize how pathetic you are, like, and how pathetic you've been for like the last however many decades since you've graduated. Like, it is like immaturity in perpetuity to just make sure that you don't realize like where you have room to grow as a person. Like,
we don't know all the details here, but this appears based on the video and based on firsthand testimony that there was a bunch of thugs.
So there we go. That's another, like, we moved from pedos to savages to thugs, right? So it's like he has these terms that he's using. We all call them dog whistles, you know, like he's got terms that he's using to categorize people as people who don't belong, right? And we know in this instance he's gonna be very mask off about who thugs are, but he's gonna try at first to act like he's using the term in a general sense and like taxonomically, as though like it could be used like to describe somebody objectively. Like there's a quality of being a thug beyond just like a racial connotation. You'll see he'll like try to dodge that, but then he'll come back to it later and like just say blacks, like, and it's like, okay, so you were just talking about black people here. Like
this is called wilding. This is very common in the black community, wilding.
He's basically making up a term for something that white people believe black people do here and saying that we're seeing an example of it because of this like curated Facebook feed that he provides on a daily basis. Like,
yeah, because of the propaganda he spits out.
Exactly.
This is called wilding. This is very common in the black community, wilding, where you kind of run around and you sucker punch people of a different race, usually white or Asian people. Happens a lot.
Does it? Oh my God.
I know, right? Like
happens a lot. I saw it yesterday, you know, running around just like looking for anybody.
Yeah, like this is a guy just having conversations, you know, he's just talking about objective reality over here.
It's like a Grand Theft Auto NPC just walking around punching.
Where young blacks kind of parole on the streets and they find
young
blacks.
He means patrol.
Yeah, he said parole, young blacks parole, and then before he said thugs, right? So now like the association between thuggery and blackness draws closer, right?
Well, and it has to always be under the context of just extreme, unreasonable violence when it's never actually what he's talking about. He's framing it that way dishonestly.
Exactly. He's framing it in the way that white people are going to view this, right? They're like, there's no time nor place for us to act like this. What are we, animals? And it's like, what have you never seen? Like what happens after a sporting event gets out and there's like brawls because people are drunk? Like,
dude,
you just call that a drunken brawl and no one steps in and you're like, there's a good guy and a bad guy in it, and you hope for the guy that you like in that situation. That's what this is.
A group of young thugs who happen to be black, and thugs can be any color, but in this case these were black thugs, were wilding.
And I mean, this is just completely dishonest. He never says white thugs. That's just, what the fuck?
Exactly. He fucked up when he was talking. Like, he wanted to say young blacks, but he said young thugs. And then he was like, oh, fuck. Because he was already talking about black people the sentence before. Then he said thugs. And he's like, I gotta try to feign plausible deniability here. Like,
thugs can be any color.
Yeah,
like the laziest thing I've ever seen.
The brawl involved multiple individuals attacking a man and a woman, with graphic footage showing the man being repeatedly punched and kicked in the head, causing him to collapse.
Maybe if we talk about enough of these fucking outrage bait stories, Charlie's death included, that we'll get so many people mad in the comments they'll just fucking like explode. Because I didn't even talk about this for that reason, because they're just fucking annoying about when you try to be honest about stories like this.
Well, I think for me, it's like the honesty is just recognizing that this was somebody who advocated for political violence on a regular basis, and that he wasn't just somebody who was simply having conversations and he wanted to see heads roll. This is the big thing for me. We live in a country that promotes violent solutions to our problems to us throughout all of our media. We all grew up with either stories about American heroes using guns in the right way to kill the bad guy, either like, you know, here at home or like across the seas or whatever the fuck it is. Movies tell us that story. American history tells us that story. So like throughout our lives, we receive the messaging that like we could be the person who uses violence to our advantage to like be heralded as a hero and like serve the greater good. So like this problem of just like taking up like violent arms to solve your problem is like a very American thing, and it's not a good situation, of course, but it's not like something meaningfully different happened when Charlie Kirk got shot. It's the same as any school shooting. It's another statistic of a larger problem that we have. And like people acting like something changed or shifted when a Nazi got shot is just trying to say that like somebody who advocates for political violence on a daily basis should see no consequences. And they have no understanding of what politics is outside of a conversation for themselves, usually because they're not seeing the effects of this, right? They're not seeing the effects of Charlie Kirk's advocacy. So they don't recognize it as violence. Like, they think that it's just a conversation. But when you're like telling people who should be caged up, who should be sent overseas, like who should fucking have bombs dropped on them, and like who should be considered humans or not, who should have the right to own guns when it comes to like, you know, trans people getting banned from guns, it's like these are violent things that he's advocating for. And like, we live in a country where people take violent action either as deputies of the state or as individual actors. So trying to act like something different happened on that day is futile. And it's like not even the actual conversation about political violence that people are trying to have, you know?
No, I completely agree. And Charlie Kirk's violence is inseparable from his rhetoric. It's natural to everything he advocates for, not just in his arguments. It's not just a guy speaking his opinion. It's a guy lobbying, fundraising, and directly like speaking with lawmakers about serious policy based on culture war bullshit, funded by dark money, especially. Like, this, it is the most transparently like corrupt, cynical grooming operation. It's just hard to have people treat him like he was a genuine actor, even in his advocacy. Like he tied himself to this. His whole identity, his whole personality was this grooming, was this advocating for violence and justifying it and whitewashing it.
When you say grooming too, like, he was somebody who embedded himself in high schools and colleges across the country to keep young conservatives entrenched within the thoughts that their parents were trying to like surround them with when they were growing up, at times when they might be exposed to other narratives that would counter them or like give them other sets of values, right? And he was approved watching for a lot of like homeschool kids, a lot of like just Christian kids who have their parents control their media diet in general. So for the last like decade, he has filled a gap that really for, you know, a long time has been open in the conservative world, which is how do we show kids, or how do we keep kids like who are experiencing the world for the first time within conservative thought as they meet other people that might counter that narrative. So his value was specifically in grooming people for the purpose of manufacturing this consent towards violent outcomes. Me talking about this is in no way saying that I think political violence is good or that he should have been like shot, right? It's just recognizing that we live in a violent country, and there are, unfortunately, because of that environment, consequences like not only from the state and the people who have been deputized to hold a gun, but by people who feel like they want to just go out and buy a gun and be a good guy with a gun for our advocacy. Like, there are real world consequences. Like, and if we want to have a conversation about political violence, it shouldn't just be, well, this Nazi got shot, isn't that bad? It should be also about the school shooting that happened at the same time. And it should be also about the violence that we're seeing from the Trump administration happening on bodies on a daily basis across the country, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk was advocating for. So it just falls on deaf ears for me if you're somebody who is trying to say that you care about this when you've never talked about any other forms of political violence before. And it goes to show to me that like you are somebody who probably doesn't experience these kinds of policies outside of conversations that you have around the table, and you think that it's just a topic to have a discussion about, when you don't recognize like that people are really losing like their autonomy or their lives over this.
Yeah, and I think that is like the catharsis of the moment, not in celebrating the death of the person, but in the removal of an impediment for people's safety and their rights. He was a force of capital and violent ideology that was hurting people, and just a little bit of alleviation from that pain, people will celebrate because of how shitty things are right now.
Right. People aren't used to bad things happening to bad people.
No. And if people had their needs taken care of, if they weren't constantly at the fucking heel of an oppressive system, they wouldn't need to celebrate this shit.
Right.
They wouldn't care about it. If anything, they would be more sympathetic because they wouldn't be so fucking like resentful of their position and their circumstances caused by people like this.
I'm sending you a guy on Rumble that I watch on my stream on a regular basis reacting to Charlie Kirk dying and saying what he wants to happen in the aftermath. So there's going to be two characters on the screen. On the left is going to be a guy named Drew Hernandez, and on the right is going to be a guy named Jeremy Harrell. Jeremy Harrell owns this network on Rumble called Live from America TV. And it's basically just a bunch of like conservative Gen X or like a little bit older dudes that are trying to chase like the Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Alex Jones dream. And he on this stream is going to be reacting to the news live that Charlie Kirk got assassinated.
You guys came to Real America's Voice News. I was there. And you and Charlie and Poso all came at the same time, if you remember. And you and Poso had a split show at that time where you were doing a half an hour and Jack was doing a half an hour. And Charlie came on during the day. And like I said, I had to type in this chat an hour ago, Charlie Kirk dead. And you knew him better. I mean, you were with TPUSA.
The way he's talking about it is like, I had to type this. Think about how I'm thinking back to the time I met him. It's making me so sad. I had to type in the chat that he was dead.
You guys, our studio was so sick and all the guys we had were so based.
Yeah.
We're never going to have that again.
The funniest part of this is like Jeremy Harrell is Drew's manager, right? So this would be like bringing your manager onto stream and like knowing they could fire you while they're saying the most unhinged shit. So Drew has to like just play along and act like he really agrees with everything happening here. And it's like pretty clear that he's just there to try and like make Jeremy seem more normal in this moment. It's so funny.
Doesn't he pay this guy to do this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think when you unpause for a few seconds, Drew's going to wrap up what he was just saying, but you'll see what Jeremy says in response.
I fully reject any form of violence in the name of dude, just shut the hell up already, dude. There's no conversation with these people, and President Trump's going to have to move in a very, very different way.
So he's just saying we need violence. Now watch Jeremy's response. Jeremy is like the main character for me here, mostly because he doesn't realize how to curate himself. Like, and he's going to explain, he thinks he's righteously pissed off here. He thinks he's like so in the right here that it's okay for him to be saying the things he's about to say.
Well, and I think that's the natural conclusion of all of right-wing rhetoric. It's just waiting for that like activation spark, and then they, sick themselves and their followers on the usual suspect.
Exactly.
I'm going to just say something that I said earlier. When I was reporting on that Ukrainian woman who got stabbed by that disgusting piece of shit.
They keep tying these two murders together without even remembering the woman's name.
Yeah, and this is why I've been saying on my stream a lot, they didn't need Charlie Kirk to die specifically to accelerate things to the next step of just like, let's continue to cage people up, let's go after leftists. Like, they've been demonizing protesters and leftists and people with counter narratives to the right since people started to do protests on campuses for Gaza and like the spring of last year. Like, this has been going on, and like Charlie Kirk dying and this girl getting stabbed, these are just like coincidences in time, right? For them to just like through their own motivated reasoning view these as like an outcome that is like because of George Soros or some shit, right? And like people are looking at Charlie Kirk like, oh, it's this unique event. It's like, no, they would have, just like they did with this like Ukrainian refugee on the bus that got stabbed. I think her name's Irina, right? Just like they did with her, like they would do this with any other random event that happened. It's just like Lake and Riley, right?
Well, and at the same time, like it's just like those kids in the Catholic church shooting. That they used and were blaming. They used it just to say that liberals were evil and demonic because they were saying that prayer wasn't enough. So it doesn't matter what the subject is. America's already violent, and they have been trying to make every shooter trans for the last like 2 years. But you're right, it doesn't take Charlie Kirk to escalate things, and that's why like honestly, Charlie Kirk isn't any more significant than any of these other examples. Even when they can't even remember the victim's name.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just as impactful to the greater project. And Trump's attitude, I think, reflects that. He was talking about his stupid fucking ballroom this morning when somebody asked if he was holding up okay.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years.
That just goes to show that it's just business as usual, which is the encroachment of fascism, which is like the stripping away of civil liberties. Like that is the new normal.
100%.
I saw people saying, and this was, and Drew, this was people on the right. And I'm not talking about the actual right. Look, I don't even consider myself right or left. I just consider myself an American, and I have conservative values. But I'm talking the Nick Fuentes people. I'm talking those type of people.
Note that he distinguishes himself from Nick Fuentes here before he says this. Also, just note that he's like trying to act like this isn't right and like that this is apolitical. This is your brain on whiteness. When you think that like you saying that like everything that lines up with Trump and advocating for Trump's policies is just being a good American, like you are just, it's your brain on whiteness, bro. Like the fuck?
Yeah, like what is normal, what is status quo is a gruesome, violent, like police occupying state that is super fucking racist and super classist, and it hurts everyone apart from literally the 1%. That's what you're referring to when you say like, oh, I'm just a normal person, I like normal things.
Yeah, I'm apolitical.
You like, 1950s like white hegemony, like that.
Right, exactly.
They were saying stuff like, well, maybe she shouldn't have been a refugee here from Ukraine. And like, I get what they're trying to say.
I really like that he's still like, I get it.
Yeah, he's like
but it's not the time.
I get the point in which they're trying to make, but you don't say that kind of stuff when an innocent girl, regardless if she was from
yeah, she's white.
Exactly.
That's not a real immigrant.
WMUR in New Hampshire, the state that I just fled from because it's a shithole state and it's a shithole news organization. On their post on Facebook, they posted about Charlie Kirk's death, and you know what people were saying in there? Oh, I love the Second Amendment. I love the Second Amendment. Are you going to love the Second Amendment when the barrel of a .44 Magnum is pressed in the back of your throat and your tonsils get blown out the back of your neck? You're going to like it then?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
These are the people that are in my DMs being like, how dare you?
Like, that's exactly it. Like, these are the people who are weaponizing political violence cynically right now to try and police, like, people trying to talk about how things are actually happening in reality.
Yeah, like I can be cynical, I can be facetious, but I straight up would never say this about anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly what Rumble is for, too. This is the free speech that they're protecting.
No, exactly. Like, this is the quiet part, right? This is when people on mainstream media say, like, these are conservative people, blah, blah, blah. Charlie Kirk used Rumble to do the exact same thing. Like, the clip we saw earlier of him talking about how public execution should be viewed by children and that we should, like, kill savages. That was on his show Thought Crime, hosted on Rumble with Rumble creators. Like, he had that up there for that reason. This is what mainstream conservatism is, and this is why you only hear about it spoken about euphemistically.
You're gonna like it when we start coming house to house, kicking doors in and dragging you people out because the military isn't gonna do it.
Jesus, wow.
Yeah, like, and we wonder where the Nazi comparisons come from. Like,
wow. No wonder he was like, yeah, I went a little too far.
It keeps going too. It gets worse.
I can't believe I got banned now. I'm sorry. Like, this is the level of fucking rhetoric that we're dealing with.
No, he thinks Charlie Kirk's murder is bad, so all this is fine.
Well, hey, I think it's bad that he got killed.
Exactly. That's the other credit that I don't get that credit because I'm just trying to talk about how normalized political violence is in America. Like, yeah. I don't think political violence is good at all. Like, and this guy apparently thinks also political violence is bad in some cases. Like,
well, he seems to sure have a fucking plan to use it.
Sooner or later, real men got to stand up, Drew. God did not create people so that we could just sit here and listen to government and just sit here and stand here.
I thought God made the Constitution.
Well, government doesn't do anything.
Don't worry. He has something to say about the Constitution.
Allows these people to rally around it and celebrate around it so other people want to do it. God did not create us to do that. God created men to rule and to lead with honor and to lead with respect and to lead with heavenly courage. And if it takes wiping out an entire civilization to do it, then God, we go wipe out an entire civilization to do it because.
And that's what God wants, and that's righteous. Sorry, just like what are you even saying right now? What's civilization?
This is what good godly Christian people are. Like, this is why I just can't handle like sanitizing of people like Charlie Kirk or his advocacy or what Christian values means. It's like this, it's talking This is why I've kind of like honed in the rhetoric I have. It is talking on a daily basis about who does and who does not belong. It's talking about who deserves value, who does not deserve value, who deserves their life and who doesn't deserve their life, who deserves autonomy and who doesn't deserve autonomy. And that the people who like we deem to be like apparently not deserving of like, recognition should be caged up, like sent across the world, bombed, like apparently just wiped out. Like
they're about to paint Charlie Kirk on one of these F-16s going over Venezuela like it's World War II, like a pinup girl.
This is why we've always said when we call out rhinos or we call out Republicans that are unwilling to just take a stand on anything, this is why.
I feel like they're also kind of LARPing like us, like leftists talking to the Democratic Party. Like they saw so much of like people like Hassan or just like people on the left talking shit about Kamala, and now they're like, I guess you can like criticize your party and like gain clout from that. It's so stupid.
Because those damn rhinos will stand by and just watch you die and say, well, we got to follow the law. We got to follow the law. That's the law. You died. Oh, well.
What do they want them to do? Ban guns? That's the law. Second Amendment. That's the law. Like, what the fuck? You're literally doing like what we do after a shooting.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Whose
psychotic.
Law? Whose law? Whose law? Whose law are we got to follow? Because
unrighteous, not even law.
I'm not following man's law. I'm not following unrighteous, unconstitutional, sit back and do absolute fuck all law.
See, like man's law is unconstitutional law?
Yeah, exactly. And he knows God's law, and God wants violence and civilizations wiped out because they're not reflecting white Christian values.
I just don't understand how you could even pretend to be like outraged at violence or people celebrating violence when you're just steeped in it. You're saturated in it.
I'm not doing it. As a matter of fact, the next person that I see drive by my house and do some shit like that guy did the other day, I'm chasing him down and I'm sticking his bike up his ass. I'm not doing it anymore, Drew.
Just some guy went by his house. Like that next time I see him, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, Drew said he had like a Trump sign outside his house and a guy like kicked it or some shit.
Just shows they want you dead.
Yeah, so you should die if that happens.
The fact that they say this shit, like they want you dead, and like it's literally not like they have everything right now. That just goes to show, like, they only want more. They have gotten their cookie as the mouse in the form of, like, Trump being president again, and they still aren't fucking satisfied because their lives still suck because Trump is making it worse.
Yep.
I'm not doing it anymore. I stopped doing it years ago, and guess what? I'm becoming a sitting duck.
Mm-hmm.
My family and friends are becoming sitting ducks.
How?
You know what happened when I was growing up? I was born in 79. The 80s were still kind of awesome. When I grew up, if somebody were to drive by your house and say what they said to you, whether they were right or wrong, guess what happened? They get socked in the mouth.
What'd they say?
I don't remember. Even during my stream, I kind of skipped over Drew's bits because it felt like Drew was talking to just kind of like give Jeremy some space. So Drew was like just telling a story about a guy that like came by his house and like kicked a sign, and Jeremy's just like acting like this was a huge affront on Drew. So I don't even think Drew gave a shit.
That's so cool.
Everything has been hijacked, and now they're using our very own experiment against us. They're saying, well, you can't come into the state because of the Constitution. Well, you can't come and stop this crime because the Constitution doesn't allow you to do that.
What?
And at this point, here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, the Constitution doesn't allow you to kill people.
And it might be the only time that I ever say it, Drew. Fuck the Constitution. It is time to strap up, get in those tanks, put the armor of God on, and roll through these cities and leave them absolutely decimated when it comes to their voting base, when it comes to their illegal crime.
Oh my God, dude. He's actually killing. He's talking about killing people.
Yeah, just go kill anybody who would vote non-Republican.
Dude, if YouTube demonetizes me, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not saying it.
When it comes to their gangs, when it comes to the GDs, when it comes to the Latin Kings, and all that other bullshit.
Just fucking made up bullshit, dude. That doesn't, like, that's not as prevalent as you think it is.
Yeah.
It is time to crush skulls. It is time to go American History X on these people. And I'm not even...
Isn't that a Nazi movie?
Yeah, you know what's funny too is remember how he was saying he's not like Nick Fuentes? Listen to what Drew says in a second.
Yeah, and you say Nick Fuentes is radical. So there's Jeremy. Time to go American History X on people.
I'm not saying go American History X on black people.
He just said Latin kings.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's like, I'm not saying black people, I'm saying thugs. This is why I like to look at guys like this, because you know that he's not doing a grift here in the same sense that like someone like Charlie Kirk is doing a grift when he's using dog whistles. Like he genuinely believes that there's some kind of distinction between black people and thugs when he's literally just talking about going and decimating black voters and like using tanks to do that. Like
what else could that possibly be? Crushing skulls.
So this is the type of person who, you know, is upset about Charlie Kirk you know, being killed. I don't think that it's separate from Charlie Kirk himself though, because, you know, we already saw that clip of him saying he wants thugs executed. There was earlier in the week, he was talking about how we need a racial civil war by showing images of people who like had some kind of violent altercation happen, like where a white person was a victim, the black person was like a person who did it. I have a bunch of clips if you want. This is what Charlie's project was defining Western civilization, and by defining Western civilization, like defining who doesn't belong. Because if anyone doesn't really know, Western civilization is a bullshit concept that's been used by pseudo academics to kind of make it sound like white people have a coherent set of values and histories that they operate under, to say, you know, what values they don't align with, to just basically give themselves a group to create an out group with. So Charlie Kirk, his main thing wasn't what people are saying in terms of protecting free speech or trying to help people to like just have conversation. His main thing was, quote, saving Western civilization. So I have a clip for that, and then I have a series of clips where he talks about Western civilization.
Yeah, I mean, in order to save something, you have to eliminate the threats to it, and that's exactly what everything he talked about and tried to do was like fueled by.
Exactly. The first thing I just linked you here is Charlie Kirk's mission statement. When you open it up, roll it back just a little bit, because we want to hear him talk about what Turning Point and Turning Point USA and Action are for.
But just to reiterate, at Turning Point Action, we had over 1,000 people on the ground in Arizona and Wisconsin chasing ballots. We were registering voters. In fact, a pollster from Signal Polling showed that when we visited college campuses, students moved dramatically more in President Trump's direction versus campuses we did not. So we have two arms.
Like, yeah, dude, because they're stupid. You just registered a bunch of voters that are stupid and aren't like fully educated.
We have Turning Point USA, which is our high school and our college chapter beast. Also Turning Point Academy, TPUSA Faith, Blexit, all the great work that we do on digital social.
I forgot he did Blexit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Sneaky.
Hey, how can we forget? It's so impactful.
And you guys should get involved with Turning Point USA. And then Turning Point Action, our 501c4 organization, all about how we are recruiting candidates, trying to make the Republican Party more conservative and more Republican, how we are chasing ballots. That is tpaction.com. And they kind of harmonize together towards an overarching view to save Western civilization.
That is the mission of all of his organizations, is they culminate in saving Western civilization. So I want to show you what Charlie Kirk feels about Western civilization, what Western civilization is to him, basically, and the people who appear on his show.
The final point that I will say if I ever meet Bill Maher again is, Bill, I know you want to defend the West. You talk about defending Western civilization, of which I admire. I agree. And we did agree that Christianity gave us Western civilization. So he loves Western civilization, but he hates the thing that gave us Western civilization.
So this is him talking about his appearance on Bill Maher. Just gives us insight that he thinks Western civilization is Christianity. So what he thinks is white people's values come from Christianity is basically that. And here's Bill Maher's thoughts on Western civilization.
And also just very anti-Western civilization.
Completely.
And this is Western civilization. And you live in Western civilization. You're soaking in it. You're enjoying it.
Yes.
All the things that make your life, and especially the life of minorities and oppressed people better, come from Western civilization. Rule of law, scientific inquiry, freedom of speech.
Like, this is just historic revisionism.
None of these things are unique to the West, and most of them were probably not like founded or invented in what they would consider the West at all, like algebra. It's just complete chauvinism and like horse blinders to anything that's not America and like some parts of Europe that the founding fathers were like homosexual about.
Exactly, literally. Like, and they're trying to act like everything we have to be thankful for comes from this. And like, this is something Charlie Kirk very much promoted, is this idea of like, nothing valuable came from anywhere besides, you know, white countries historically, right? Here's Ben Shapiro talking about Western civilization on Charlie Kirk's show.
So I think that we, you know, those of us who consider ourselves part of Western civilization, you know, we need to recognize that a constant self-abnegation, a constant attempt to tear ourselves down out of a misguided sense of humility in the face of people who are happy to just destroy our civilization from without and within, that is a gigantic mistake. And it is totally fine to say to people who wish to destroy our civilization, no, your values suck and they don't belong here.
This is just the softer thing that Jeremy Harrell was saying a moment ago about how he wants to decimate people. Your values don't belong here. Your non-Western values, your non-white Christian values don't belong here. Like,
right. Which it could so easily and so quickly be turned on Ben Shapiro, ironically enough, because it's exactly what Adolf Hitler said about Jewish people.
Yeah, like exactly. Here's this guy, Josh Hammer or Dave Smith, one or the other, on Charlie Kirk's stage at a recent event debating about Israel, but he's going to talk about the West and how Islam doesn't fit in with the West.
That we in Western civilization are fundamentally at war with barbarism, barbarism being best represented by the Islamists and Sharia supremacists.
So just in the rhetoric, we're fundamentally at war with barbarism. So earlier we're hearing Charlie Kirk talk about savages when talking about people he wants executed, right? Like we can start to link the dots here. Like they're using this euphemistic language to just talk about who doesn't belong. And in this case, it's Muslim people. It's like these are the barbarians, the ones who act differently, who don't deserve human treatment or dignity, right?
But it conveniently overlaps with how they talk about trans people. It's just such an umbrella term that they use for everything in their in-group.
Exactly. And this is why people call them fascists, because this is fascist rhetoric, ultimately.
When you understand that Western civilization really just is the Bible, there is a special calling to have an ally with a certain part of the Middle East. That's
like the Bible is Western civilization. The Quran contains the Bible, by the way. Like the Quran's got the Bible in it, so...
Exactly. And a certain part of the Middle East... Israel only came into existence in 1948. That's not from the Bible.
This next one is just Charlie Kirk talking about his views on Elon Musk, but the next few clips are going to be kind of just rapid fire Charlie Kirk talking about Western civilization.
God, this thumbnail is fucking insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thankful to Elon Musk for putting up and his money and his time and his treasure to try and save Western civilization.
I am a voter. I'm a registered voter.
I vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today.
In America, it is objectively true, okay?
That isn't true.
Again, first of all, they removed Western civilization as a core course in Stanford in the 1990s. They tried to bring it back with petitions, and the university said, no, teaching Western civilization is racist. Shakespeare is not taught at let me finish. Shakespeare is not taught at major universities across America because it's deemed as racist.
That is not true, by the way. That's just a complete lie.
Yeah, it's not. Western civilization isn't taught because it's not a real academic subject for study. Like, that's why it's not taught.
No, it's taught if you take fucking any English class, though.
Let me roll it back. Yeah, this is him saying he supports Israel because it embraces Western values.
Well, just you take the hands out of your pocket.
Yeah,
Sorry,
enough,
you never know what people have.
Sorry, yeah.
Israel embraces Western values far better than its neighbors.
Like what?
Well, again, it doesn't matter where they are. They just have Western values. Again.
Yeah, like no definition, Western values, you know what they are.
Literally just apartheid. Like that's the only fucking thing that America and Israel like fundamentally share.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Sikhs. I actually grew up with Sikhs. They're very warm and wonderful people, and they're the people of the book. But 1 out of 3 truck drivers, you cannot drive like that in America when people expect drivers to respect the rules of the road. This is the difference between Western civilization and whatever that is.
Yeah, the rules of the road are Western civilization.
Exactly. Like this just goes to show that whatever he wants to define as Western civilization counts, and everything else is just chaos in the third world and like something that like we should not aspire to. And it's like, dude, people here still get into accidents, like not just because they're brown people on the roads who don't understand or adhere to Western values. Like,
yeah, they're not thinking about Western civilization when they're overworked and exhausted on the road as a truck driver.
that's exactly the incident that he's talking about too. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe you should advocate for some fucking labor rights so people don't have to work that hard. Or fucking public transit so people don't have to be driving around semi-trucks. Like, goddamn.
Yep.
Palestinian pro-Hamas people have to do with the white liberal purple-haired jihadis, and then also with the La Raza folks with BLM. They all hate Christendom. They hate Western civilization.
Christendom.
They hate what we have built.
What we have built. The Western people are the ones that build. White people are the ones that build in his narrative as well.
Western civilization is having to buy a key for the 7-Eleven bathroom.
Yeah.
Or sorry, having to go up to the counter and ask for a key for the bathroom at 7-Eleven. They hate what we've built
and allow us to take our sovereignty and our country back.
Dude, Stephen Miller's so white, he's blowing out the camera on the screen. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't see any details of his face.
The camera can't even process the TV screen's contrast.
In terms of the defense and the saving of Western civilization, this bill is a now or never moment.
Like, it just goes to show that the people who come onto his platform also use it as an opportunity to say, oh, this is our opportunity to save the West, and it is our imperative to save the West. Like, we must do it, and the West is everything white Christian conservatives believe in value, and anyone else doesn't share those values. They need to go. Like, that was his daily output.
That's what people are mourning, is his ability as a vector for those talking points for people that otherwise they wouldn't be fucking hearing about. Who the fuck would listen to Stephen Miller if he wasn't on that show?
Well, that plus his ability to groom high school age and college age students, because he was approved watching, and they're like, who else am I going to show my kids to now? Nobody else is going to like enjoy nobody else is they're not gonna enjoy anybody else on the right. They're all just like these old dudes.
They're tired of Tuttle Twins.
Yeah. Like,
do you think Islam is compatible with Western civilization?
Absolutely. Like, just that.
It's so telling he never has to define what he means, even to someone who's like clearly not from the West, if he's talking with authority on Islam. Like, you're not going to come to a common ground really quick on like, well, what do you mean by that? Like,
right, exactly. It's just white Christendom. It's just whatever they perceive as white Christendom, like what he was saying a moment ago.
So I said that. I don't know if you saw that. Got 75 million views on my tweet. People thought, oh, that's great. Prove my point for me.
I love that. Just do it for me.
Yeah.
People were mad at me on Twitter. I don't know if you saw.
You can rest easy that we have this incredible team of qualified, ambitious patriots that are saving Western civilization. And it's not just Trump. Trump has empowered this energized force. And we're only 3 weeks in.
Like, that is what he wanted. So for me, that's just like, this series of clips just goes to show his actual sentiments about what his platform is, what he wanted to do with it, what he felt the imperative was. And the imperative was to define who belongs and who doesn't belong in quote unquote Western civilization, and use that categorization to get people out of society, take away their autonomy, strip away their rights, like just make it so that they don't have to consider them human beings and they can do whatever the fuck they want to them politically. Like, that is what his entire goal was.
And he was very successful because of where we're at.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that Trump is able to do mass deportations, as much as like everybody knew that was paying attention how horrible it would be and how inhumane it would be. Like, they still manufactured consent. They still got away with telling people they are deporting the worst of the worst with no evidence.
Right. It all comes from a basic like dehumanization that happens through the rhetoric, right? Where like people are not worthy of moral consideration anymore, apparently. Like, they're not people anymore. They're immigrants. Like, they're aliens. They're like worthy of political violence and worthy of like inhumane treatment.
Oh, hang on. Let me I gotta show you this one. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, revenging our brother. Who's with me?
Holy shit. The funniest thing about like boomers or chuds in general is like they immediately self-report, even if you couldn't clock that guy somehow from his very dubious fashion choices. But like their musical and media choices just immediately tell you like where they're at.
He's revenging. Here's the last one I absolutely have to show you, because this is a new phenomenon that is happening, I think, with everybody that dies now. And it's kind of fascinating to me. I'm sure you've seen at least one of these before. I died at 31 years, but I was once 31 years old.
Oh, it's like walking through all of his moments. That's so crazy. Oh, it's so weird.
So they did this to Trump when everyone thought he died, and they just like walk through these different stages in AI.
Yeah, they walk backwards.
I guess this one's backwards. So I guess sometimes it goes from like baby to adult, but it's always this song too, because of course it's more 80s fetishism.
Yeah, literally.
Yay, AI children. Just putting her down like that. Oh, God. He turned into Trump. Oh, there he goes. That was Trump. Ah!
Yeah, no, Charlie. It's actually Charlie.
This is scary. Why do people like this?
This is reality. They might be telling us something about reality here.
So what, you think this is real?
Yeah, actually. Like for me, I said it at the beginning, I really think the biggest loss here is just seeing the evolution of his hairline. Like, where was it gonna go? Like all the things it could become.
Yeah, look at that gap. I mean, that's AI, so maybe they're making it worse.
So I got a treat for you. I don't know if you know Moon Lord, Ian Crossland from Tim Pool's show.
Yes, I do know Moon Lord.
He decided to record a reaction to Charlie Kirk. And this is another thing that I keep seeing in all the reactions. Like we were talking about the selfish nature of them. Everyone seems to be talking about him like he's a fucking friend. Like I have like 5 videos that I like have on my playlist from yesterday that are like Charlie Kirk, my friend, my friend. It feels like everybody's trying to like posthumously like gain as much clout as they can off of him because they can't farm him for clout anymore, you know?
That was his utility to them. They're mourning this opportunity, this guy that represented growth or like prominence for them, like their foothold in media, like at their higher level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Listen to how he talks about him here. It's just so disingenuous in my opinion.
My friend Charlie got killed yesterday, Charlie Kirk.
So quiet,
and
bro.
I say friend, it's sort of a loose use of the word friend. I mean, Charlie and I...
It's got to be quiet on your end too. This is absurd. What's?
Yeah, it actually is really quiet.
Dude, what is with all this money on this equipment? And
yeah, notice he's got a left-hand mic and a right-hand mic. My chat pointed out it might be for like him playing guitar, but it just looks so silly.
My friend Charlie got killed yesterday, Charlie Kirk. And
my friend, like,
dude, like you're milking it at that point. Come on.
Literally. I know. He also just like think about the fact he's in like a closet by himself in a room, like talking about this dude that he knew through a screen. It's like, you're not all right, bro. Like, you're not okay here.
It's very parasocial, even though if you like I've met like content creators. It doesn't matter if I met them once or twice. If I watch them all the time, I'm not like, that's my buddy.
Yeah, like
hung out with Charlie probably 4 times, but it would be like at an event, at a Turning Point USA event, I'd see him and we'd got along so good. And then he was on our show, Timcast IRL with Vosh, and we did a debate. We did our Timcast.
Yeah, the goblin fan, the guy that likes goblins.
Just not what I was expecting to hear about.
So more of an acquaintance, but the kind of guy where, like, you know, when you meet somebody and
more of an acquaintance, but like an acquaintance friend.
But a guy you really vibe with.
Yeah, it's like an acquaintance, but like a friend, you know?
We were stuck in a room together for 10 days. We'd get along extremely well. That was Chuck, man.
That's Chuck.
You don't nickname an acquaintance.
That's Chuck. Nah, Eden, we lost Chuck. Nah, Chuck's gone too soon, my friend.
Dude, Chucky. I've never heard anyone call him Chuck. Ever.
That's Chuck.
I guess I'm not his friend.
I love the level of familiarity he's trying to farm off this. Like, he like had personal moments with him, had like 4 conversations with him, you know. That's Chuck.
I mean, even Trump kind of did that. Like, it's not like they hung out all the time, But he even said he was loved and admired by all, especially me. Like, what do you mean by that? Everyone is doing this.
That one, though, I do believe because Trump did know his propaganda value in terms of recruiting young conservatives into the project. Like,
that's true. I do believe that.
This is the one thing I've been talking about on my stream when it comes to like the value of Charlie Kirk when it comes to reactionary propaganda is like his position where he's like grooming young kids into conservative thought is very unique, and like that is like, in my opinion, them saying they do recognize the value loss here, like when they're saying like, especially
that's what they
me.
are mourning.
Yeah.
It didn't matter one if he didn't understand you, because he appreciated, he could see genius. Just in this,
he's talking about himself. I think he could see genius.
Yeah, I don't know, like what the fuck.
When he listened to me talk about fucking like alien dragons or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, or like graphene, exactly.
In other people, he could see intelligence in other people, whether or not he understood what they were saying or not. He could still tell that there was value. Like some people, when they see other people talking,
he's talking about himself. Like there's no one else that he's talking about like seeing value in what they're saying when he didn't understand it.
Right, Moonlord's over here just like, bro, do you understand how like we create light bridges and like our consciousness could like interconnect us like between like, you know, the like miles and miles of light years between us?
Yeah, man.
You see my genius, at least. I can tell you don't get it, but you see my genius at least.
I do, dude. I see it
in a different language. Oh, they're not making any sense, those idiots. And like you realize like he was very aware of his own ignorance and his own ability to be ignorant, and that made him an exceptional conversationalist. Chuck. I'm just kind of letting it out. I don't know. I didn't have any plans about this video, but I had a dream about Charlie last night. He got killed yesterday, you know. If you probably know what I'm talking about. He got assassinated live.
No, what? Wait, he did?
I just had a dream about him.
Took it in the neck and
oh my God! Why did he call? Why? I didn't describe it that gruesomely. Took it in the neck.
Hey, this is a friend, okay? We all knew Chuck. All right, we hate to see it.
He could see genius. How could you make it more about how awesome you are for even like knowing him? Like,
yeah, like literally.
Afterwards, I was like, I think the Catholic Church should canonize him. I don't know.
Oh my God, Saint Chucky.
I believe in a lot of the morals, which is why Charlie and I got along so well.
He believes in a lot of morals?
I messaged him a couple weeks ago about doing a debate, Christianity versus agnosticism, and I just thought, he's so busy, I haven't heard back from him yet. But like, I'd look over at him, you know, we'd be doing a show together, and I'd be saying the craziest shit, like, I believe. You'll be talking about spirits and God and energy and vibrations, and I'd look at him and he'd just be like...
And Vosh was there, and we were talking about goblins.
Like smiling at like, yeah, keep going. Even if
was that what he said, or he was just kind of smiling and nodding.
Yeah, Ian is like permanently either like microdosing or like macrodosing. So like he always remembers things through that lens.
Yeah, he was like, it was such a great time. Yeah, I wonder why, buddy.
If he had no idea what I was saying or like he knew that I was being honest. He could tell that I was being honest, and that was all he cared about was that I was honestly, openly discussing my beliefs, and then I would listen. Then I would listen to him, and elevate him to a position of authority in that moment, so that I could, you know, steel man his take on things.
What?
And, I always liked him. I felt good that he was there on Earth.
Like, I wouldn't make fun of him if he was just like, man, you know, I got along with him. It's really sad. I'm taking a break or something. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just the fact that it's like about him, and we had this conversation about spirits, and he didn't even get it. He knew his own ignorance about the things he didn't understand, but he saw my genius.
In a second too, he like cries and says, maybe I should take a break. And it's like, yeah, you should not have recorded this in the first place. Like, if I'm even to believe like the emotion you're expressing here, like, which I don't, I just think that like he's in a position where he's like, I should show some kind of emotion and reverence for this guy, and this is how he does it. Like, and it feels like when you hear him say Chuck and shit like that, it just feels like he's performing this like familiar relationship that they never actually had, you know?
For sure. And it's only because he knows there's more attention on him for virtue of making this video. Like that he's even saying any of this. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If it feels so cynical, and maybe it doesn't because he's like on mushrooms or something right now, but like it doesn't feel like you actually cared about this guy. You haven't said anything about him other than he understood his own ignorance. Like, did he like to cook or something, or did he like what was his favorite color?
Yeah, exactly.
Red, white, and blue. Like that's the thing too. Charlie Kirk is kind of a shallow person. Like he doesn't really have an identity outside of his advocacy, which is why people didn't feel bad.
Right.
So they don't have much to say, and they didn't really know him.
Charlie Kirk, he was unique in the parasocial side of things. Like he tried to make himself the face of Turning Point USA. It wasn't just this organization, it was Charlie Kirk's organization, and the kids that he influenced through it like wanted to meet him one day. He was like a role model. He was like an icon, someone to look up to. And when I'm seeing all of these creators kind of reflect that sort of like parasocial aspect of things, it just feels like that was kind of deliberately fostered in them, right? Like he wanted to plant the seed of like, I am this accessible guy who's a Christian conservative just like you, and like I'm out here working social media platforms, and maybe like one day you can meet me or like enter into like the same sphere as me. So I think that that's where a lot of this is coming from. The next person I'm about to send you, I kind of don't want to give you too much like qualifications on, but it's really similar. His name is Bald Brad on Rumble. And one of my things is I like to just find randos on Rumble. I really like I said, public service, but public access television kind of thing. It's like just seeing who is deciding to like make content out there. So I'm sending you Bald Brad, and he, in my opinion, has a reaction very similar to Moonlord, where he's just like trying to act like a friend died, but it's someone he never knew at all. You'll see.
It has to be in one way or another about like how they feel, how they would feel if they were his kid or something, or like how they would want to debate him, like Moonlord said, like, oh, we were going to debate Christianity or whatever.
Exactly.
The opportunity's lost.
Well, we're alive.
It's just like all ready for me.
I wasn't even sure if I was going to go live, do a video. Not even sure if I wanted to talk about it today.
The camera's so close.
Everything is so deliberate. Everything is so chosen, right? Like he chose to go live. He chose to film this. He chose to film it close up. He chose to take that pause before he started talking. Like all of it is so choreographed.
He starts with his hand on his face. Like that's fucking choreographed too.
If I was going to go live, do a video. Not even sure if I wanted to talk about it today.
Like, oh, Brad, I'm so sorry for everything.
Very rarely do I ever get emotional.
Again, it's about him. I'm strong, and I'm Chad, and I never cry. I don't bleed.
Or have like the feels, you know what I'm talking about? Or,
I know.
You know, for somebody I haven't met, Charlie Kirk was a guy I looked up to. It'd be no different, and God forbid, if something were to happen like Ben Shapiro, up there in terms of guys I look up to.
Dude, that's S tier, man. That's like, you can't get higher than that.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing is like who's in parallel with Charlie Kirk. And like, I honestly, when it comes to like the replaceability of Charlie Kirk, I think Ben Shapiro is in competition to be able to replace him, just in the sense that like he's done the same kind of like, over the last decade, he's become known as like the debate guy, the facts and logic guy, like the guy that like will like own the libs or whatever the fuck, right? And people like had those compilations of like him taking down feminists, him like telling like, you know, pro-black advocates like what's what on college campuses like 10 years ago. The only difference is him and Charlie Kirk diverged, where Charlie Kirk specifically targeted kids at high school and college age and like made that the backbone of his entire organization. Ben Shapiro was like, I want to become more of a mainstream figure. I want to become more of a mainstream pundit. And so like he's like broadened his audience.
And he's on CNN now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he doesn't want to talk to plebs and children anymore. Like, you know, I feel like he thought it was below him even when he was doing it.
Yeah, like exactly.
He has that elitist mentality, Harvard educated. Charlie Kirk's a dropout. Like, of course he didn't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's really rare among the right anyway, to have someone with those kinds of like hardcore Christian nationalist elitist values that comes from a background that isn't elitist, or at least like isn't like Ivy League educated. Like he still probably had fast parents and rich parents, but
yeah, none of the, like the vetted institutions or like just like the normal pedigree, right?
Yeah, that's why they keep talking about his ability to like reach out to average people and to, you know, seemingly reach across the aisle, because he doesn't have the same blind spots that like Tucker Carlson would have.
Yeah, exactly. You're basically getting what Brad's reaction is, you know. It's just very self-centered. It's very much just like acting like something happened to him that he needs to go talk about. And this is what I was seeing across Rumble, is like the sentiment of like, Charlie Kirk, my friend, or not friend, but this guy I looked up to died and it's really affecting me. And mostly it's just down to it's affecting you because you realize that there might be consequences for your advocacy, and him holding his chin like this is just him thinking, damn, what if that bullet went through my neck? Like,
which is selfish. Like, that's not how you mourn someone.
That could have been me, is all they're thinking. Yeah.
Well, I figure we get to, you know, a nice positive tribute.
Yeah, Wano Savin over here.
You know what I mean? I just set the mood right here, close it out right.
There was a attempt, I would say by the devil himself. Forget the puppets in between. They're just on somebody's hand. There was an attempt to silence this generation that was coming out. They may have been misguided in some things or didn't understand. They had a sense that something was going awry with society. And RFK spoke to the youth. He had a vision that was becoming clearer by the day. He himself was changing moment by moment, even with the stuff that his elder brother had come to understand while he was in office. And it was an attempt.
Sorry, I just really like the worship music he's got going on in the background.
It's crazy how many like of these songs exist, because it feels to me it's like once I've heard it all. Like they always
this
use
could
the
be
same,
AI.
Yeah, literally, exactly.
This is what I was looking on a lot of the tributes that I didn't want to save, and they were mostly made with AI, like full instrumental, like country songs about how like America's at a turning point. Thank you, Charlie Kirk.
I saw some of those actually. Yeah.
I mean, this is a crazy situation. It's not every day that something like this happens. And I think it's important to track exactly how the rhetoric evolves and changes, because this does come with a lot of fear for people, and not everyone can parse through this stuff.
Yes.
And I think you, Rhyzohm, do a great job with it. This was a ton of fun. And really like cathartic for me, at least, to exchange this with you and share, you know, how we feel about it. And
thanks for doing it.
I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, I hope that, you know, people just hear this and consider that politics is more than just a conversation, that it has real outcomes on real bodies, that we're like living at a time when on a daily basis, people are being violently acted upon by the state. And that means that political violence is not just a crazy guy with a gun going out there and doing what he thinks is justice, which is not how we get anything done in the first place. But political violence is more than that. It's ICE raiding into facilities, like raiding into Home Depot, raiding into parks, and just rounding people up. Fucking us sending bombs overseas, us trying to
blowing up Venezuelan boats that we think are drug dealers.
Yeah, exactly. Us fucking like rounding up homeless people, like calling trans people mentally ill and trying to advocate for taking their guns away. Like Charlie Kirk did more than just have conversations. He contributed to that sentiment. He contributed to a world where people are questioning who belongs in society and who doesn't. And he was trying to give an answer to that and say that society is for white Christian people and should reflect white Christian values. And if they don't, or if people don't seem to reflect those values, then we should get rid of them from our societies or cage them up, quarantine them, purify them, just get rid of them in some fashion, visibly, or like, I hope people can see is like what political violence is. And like, just if they are now realizing that political violence is a thing because they're upset that somebody got assassinated, recognize that this happens in America every day. And people who have, you know, who are not mentally in check, like every day take guns and use them on other people. And it's not just Charlie Kirk. Like something didn't change there. This is just another day in America, unfortunately. And we need to do a lot of work and advocacy to try and fix that.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much, Rhyzohm, for coming on. Thank you for your time. Make sure you follow Rhyzohm. Give him tons of support. Do you want to plug anything before you go?
Yeah, I do my thing on Twitch like pretty much every night around like 5-6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you need a space to scream into the void because you're tired of this timeline, you're tired of people trying to fucking apologize for people doing inhumane shit on a fucking regular basis, come over to our space. We're here.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.